Imagine this. You're living your ordinary life when suddenly the sky darkens, the ground cracks beneath your feet, and the calm water transforms into a towering wall of death rushing toward you. Nature is a mighty and unpredictable force. Sometimes it asserts its power so brutally that within seconds, it can wipe entire cities off the face of the earth, leaving behind only ruins. Today, we'll tell you about the most terrifying natural phenomena capable of instantly altering the fate of entire continents. We'll dive into the merciless elements and revisit real-life disasters that have already shaken the world. Get ready. It's going to be chilling and fascinating. Tsunamis aren't just large waves. They're massive walls of water capable of destroying everything in their path. They aren't caused by regular waves, as many believe, but by major natural cataclysms such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or even underwater landslides. It's not just rising water. It's a moving wall carrying an incredible amount of energy. A tsunami can be so powerful that a single wave tens of meters high crashing into a coastal area can mean the end for any civilization along the shore. One of the main causes of such disasters is seismic activity, with earthquakes being the primary triggers for large tsunamis. These typically occur as a result of underwater earthquakes or the shifting of oceanic plates, which displace vast volumes of water upward. The deadliest tsunami in history. 2004. In 2004, the Indian Ocean witnessed one of the deadliest disasters ever. A powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 near the western coast of Sumatra triggered a tsunami that obliterated everything in its path. Waves reached up to 30 meters in height and struck the shores of 14 different countries. The worst affected were Thailand, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, India, and Malaysia. This tragedy claimed over 230,000 lives across various countries. These regions were devastated not only by the disaster itself, but also by its aftermath, including infrastructure collapse, destruction of buildings, and water contamination. Coastal cities were literally washed away by the waves. In addition, Japan's 2011 tsunami was caused by a magnitude 9.0 earthquake, which resulted in widespread destruction in the country's northeast. Technological disasters, including the Fukushima nuclear plant incident, made this event even more catastrophic. Thousands died, and tens of thousands were left homeless. Some scientists predict that future earthquakes could be even more powerful, making new tsunamis even more likely. Studies show that areas around the Pacific Ocean have the potential to generate even larger and more dangerous tsunamis, capable of traveling thousands of kilometers from their origin. Supervolcanoes are volcanoes capable of ejecting immense amounts of lava, ash, and gases, often with devastating consequences for the entire planet. They dwarf ordinary volcanoes, with crater diameters stretching tens of kilometers and eruption volumes measured in thousands of cubic kilometers. All of the world's supervolcanoes pose a potential threat to humanity. If one were to erupt, it could cause global disasters such as abrupt climate cooling, ecosystem collapse, and even the downfall of human civilization. This is because a supervolcano eruption doesn't just cause local destruction. The ash and gases released into the stratosphere can linger for decades, blocking sunlight and triggering a so-called volcanic winter. The most famous supervolcano, Yellowstone. The Yellowstone supervolcano is one of the most well-known and largest volcanic systems on Earth. Located in the United States, within Yellowstone National Park, its last eruption occurred about 640,000 years ago. But geologists believe it's still active. If Yellowstone erupts, it could result in mass casualties, the destruction of farmland, and ultimately, global climate change. For comparison, Its last eruption released up to 2,500 cubic kilometers of lava. The story of Toba. In addition to Yellowstone, history remembers the eruption of the Toba volcano about 74,000 years ago on the Indonesian island of Sumatra. This eruption caused global cooling that lasted several years and resulted in a volcanic winter. Its impact was so massive that scientists believe it nearly wiped out humanity, reducing the global population to just a few thousand individuals. Although supervolcano activity is currently low, scientists warn that future eruptions are still possible. Volcanic zones in South America and the Pacific Islands, including Iceland, are potential sites for the next catastrophic eruption. The potential consequences for humanity are hard to overstate. Experts predict that a major supervolcano eruption could lead not only to mass deaths, but also to significant ecological changes, possibly marking the end of an era. That's why emergency response plans always include provisions for such worst-case scenarios. Earthquakes are one of the oldest and most terrifying natural forces on Earth. But mega-earthquakes are several times more powerful than typical ones. Their magnitudes can exceed 9.0 on the Richter scale, with consequences so catastrophic that entire cities can disappear in minutes. Mega-earthquakes mostly occur where massive tectonic plates collide. The energy stored underground over hundreds or even thousands of years is released in mere seconds, ripping apart the Earth's surface and causing massive destruction. Historical example: the Great Chilean Earthquake of 1960. The strongest recorded earthquake occurred on May 22, 1960 in Chile. With a magnitude of 9.5, it remains the most powerful earthquake in recorded history. It claimed over 1,600 lives, triggered a tsunami that raced across the Pacific Ocean, and even caused the eruption of the Puyehue volcano. The tsunami generated by this quake devastated the coasts of Japan and the Philippines, despite being thousands of kilometers away. This proved once again that the effects of mega-earthquakes can be global, not just local. Other notable disasters: the 2004 Sumatra earthquake that triggered a catastrophic tsunami in the Indian Ocean. The 2011 Great Tohoku earthquake in Japan, 9.1 magnitude, which led to a tsunami and the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Today's risk zones aren't limited to familiar regions like Japan or Chile. For instance, California's San Andreas Fault in the US is primed for a big one, a major quake that could become the most destructive in American history. If a mega-earthquake strikes a major metropolis like Los Angeles or Tokyo, the death toll could reach hundreds of thousands, with economic losses in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Hurricanes are cyclones that form over warm ocean waters. But as ocean temperatures rise, hurricanes grow stronger, transforming into superstorms. Superhurricanes are storms with wind speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, 186 miles per hour, accompanied by torrential rains and devastating floods. Their power is so immense that a single storm can erase entire islands or coastal cities from the map. Hurricane Katrina, 2005, USA, one of the deadliest storms to hit New Orleans. It claimed over 1,800 lives and caused over $125 billion in damages. The city was almost completely submerged due to levee failures. Hurricane Irma, 2017, one of the most powerful Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded, with winds reaching up to 295 kilometers per hour, 183 miles per hour. It caused catastrophic damage across the Caribbean and the US. Future superhurricane scientists warn that due to global warming, superhurricanes may become the norm. Warmer waters fuel stronger storms, meaning coastal regions face ever-growing risk. Florida, South Carolina, Texas. All of these areas could face hurricanes many times stronger than anything humanity has experienced so far. Landslides are often perceived as local disasters, but in the case of megalandslides, the scale can be apocalyptic. Megalandslides involve the sudden collapse of massive volumes of Earth, capable of generating tsunamis, rerouting rivers, and flooding entire valleys. When a mountain or huge chunk of land suddenly shifts, the energy released is colossal, enough to instantly obliterate towns and villages. The 1934 Tafjord landslide in Norway triggered a massive fjord tsunami that destroyed several villages and killed 74 people. The 1958 Lituya Bay landslide in Alaska caused the largest wave ever recorded, over 500 meters, 1,640 feet high. Future landslide threats. On the Canary Islands, the Cumbre Vieja volcano is a potential site for a future massive landslide. If a large portion of the island collapses into the ocean, it could trigger a mega tsunami up to 30 meters high, potentially reaching the coasts of the US and Europe. Nature constantly reminds us how vulnerable we are to its power. Skyscrapers, technologies, and billion-dollar investments can't stop tectonic shifts. Storms with the force of hundreds of nuclear bombs, or entire mountains plunging into the abyss. We can build cities, pass laws, and invent technologies, but in the face of nature's true power, we are merely guests on this planet. The real question isn't if the next catastrophe will happen. It's when, and whether we'll be ready for it. So never forget, knowledge is power, and those who understand what might happen have a much better chance of surviving. Subscribe to the channel and join our community of travelers and explorers. Many incredible stories still lie ahead.